which segues into our next segment, folks. Sam, start with you here. Giants at Dolphins. Preview week 5 is upon us. Not feeling too good. Dolphins favored by 11. All-time, Giants lead the series 7-3. This is the Eli Apple revenge game, and we know Sam's Bills pennant up there I think it's on the right of your screen, folks, if you can see. Showing some Buffalo support as well. Look, Bills torched Miami's defense last week, but the Dolphins are just 2 weeks removed from a 70-point outing. Sam, I'm not feeling too good right now about this one.
I just gotta chill thinking about this game. After last week, especially, and that's one less day as well for us to be resting, recovering, practicing, so on and so forth. Which makes a big difference. I do think that the Dolphins are gonna put up a solid amount of points against us. Although the Bills, not to say that we're like the Bills, because at this point I don't think we come close to them right now. But I do think that there was a little bit of exposure last week with the Dolphins. The Dolphins can run up and down the field. Tua is getting better every week, but the Bills did kind of show it off a little bit. Like, all right, they are not indestructible. They put 70 points up against the worst defense in the entire league, the Denver Broncos. So I think that's the little shred of hope that I've been kind of hanging on to here. But unfortunately, I'm not seeing the Giants win this game. I hope it's a little bit of more of a better game. I'd love to see a touchdown or two. I'd love to see Darren Waller in the red zone, for God's sakes. I mean, I don't know what it is. Every time I get excited about us bringing up a tight end and then they don't ever make it into the red zone, I think it's like this curse or something. I don't know. But I genuinely would just love to see a little bit of fight, a little bit of spark. But unfortunately, I really don't think that we have what it takes to beat the Dolphins right now.
Unfortunately, before the season started, I actually thought maybe the Giants could have a chance just because I had this hope that the offense was going to, be a 30-plus point offense. And then we started playing football and watching the Miami Dolphins just kind of put up points at will and put up points at ease. Even in a bad game, they still put up 20 points, which would have been they still would have beaten the Giants with 3 points. And the Giants right now have scored 46 points total in this season, which is the lowest in the NFL. And the fact that Miami Dolphins have put up, I think, 150 points, which is number 1 in the NFL, that scares me because Tua is finding Tyreek Hill, and it just feels like he's especially in the Bronco game, he found everybody at will, and I feel like that's the kind of offense that Miami is running. They just knew how to put up points, and so far Buffalo embarrassed them. Buffalo put up 48 on them, and I feel like they're going to come into this game against the Giants wanting to get back at a team that's struggling. And they want to put up 35, 40, whatever. And I feel like, unfortunately, the Giants, it might be their punching bag because the Giants have been struggling to, granted it wasn't all on the defense, but, Dallas put up 40. San Francisco put up 30. Arizona almost put up 30. I felt like Seattle could have put up more if they had the ball more. And that's been the thing. The Giants so far have given up a lot of points. And I feel like with this Miami team, they scored well, and I feel like we're going to see more of that. Deontay Banks did what he could with DK Metcalf, but DK is a freak, and Tyreek Hill is what he is. He's one of the fastest people in the league who is hard to cover, and I feel like the Giants might be walking into a possible offensive massacre, and why they're Miami is favored by 11. Yeah, that's it could be potentially a 20-point plus blowout. It might not be pretty on Sunday, and I felt like after this game, people could have gotten fired after the Seahawks game if they put up another embarrassing performance. could be another, I feel like another game where coaches could deserve to get fired, or somebody, could get cut. And, if I want to at least see some effort, like just show some effort, like make a game of it, and fight like you did against the Cardinals in the second half. And, for the most part of the game, the Giants fought the 49ers, despite being short-staffed and being outmanned. They fought the Niners until the very end. Show that fight. At least try to fight the Miami Dolphins. At least give the fans something to look forward to. Even if you lose the game, a lot of people are expecting them to lose the game, but fight them. That's probably the most I want to see, is at least the Giants to show some fight. They got their faces embarrassed, rubbed in it, embarrassed on Monday night against the Seahawks. Come back, a 1:00 game, and just fight back against the Miami Dolphins. That's what I want to see most, even if they don't win the game.
And DJ typically plays well in the 1:00 window, no? So, Daniel, we're talking to you here. Prove us wrong. Evan Neal, prove us wrong, right? We would love to sit here next week and talk about, Daniel Jones outplayed Tua. He threw some nice touchdown passes. He hit Waller in the end zone. We would love to be doing that. However, I don't think it's happening. I hate to just pounce on what both of you just said, but they're not going to be able to protect Daniel Jones. The Giants have allowed a league-high 36 pressures in week 4, 23 sacks. Jones was sacked 11 times last week with 14 QB hits. No John Michael Schmitz, most likely, with the shoulder injury. Daniel Bellinger also has a knee injury, as Doug mentioned earlier. Our best blocking tight end, in my opinion. And McKeithen and Lemieux also suffered injuries, so Mark Lewinsky might have to start if both of them are out. I don't think both of them will be out. Sam just rolled your eyes on Mark Lewinsky.
Well, I think Lemieux has a groin injury, so
yes.
I think the line that we saw at the end of the game with Izudu, Glowinski, Bredeson, McKeithen, and Neal, I think that is likely going to be the offensive line, unless something changes. I think Thomas is probably not going to be going again with the hamstring. That's likely going to be the offensive line we see it could be a rough day for Daniel Jones, because they've been allowing a pressure, and it's a lot of young guys still trying to figure out how to play football. And at the same time, defenses have been basically licking their chops to try and take their shots at Daniel Jones, and Seattle did it. I mean, Miami might try to just copy the blueprint and go after him again. That seems to be what a lot of defenses are doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you got Andrew Van Ginkel there, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips. They're tough pass rushers, those guys. And you have Zach Sealer and Christian Wilkins up the middle, going up against probably 3 backup offensive linemen, if you still consider McKeithen a backup. I mean, he's basically a starter at this point. They won't be able to get explosive plays. But Sam, quickly here, and then we'll go to Doug. 60 seconds for your keys of the game. What are they and why?
Oh, keys of the game. I guess I can throw in score points in there just for funsies. I definitely feel like we're really, like, offensively, we know that it's not going to be working out too well. Like, let's just make this as painless as possible. Defensively, let's step up for the plate. Let's stop this run. Devin Achane is insane. Like, he's been running all over the place. So, let's keep this to a dull roar, because we're like we said, we're all very adamant of the fact that it's not going to be a pretty game. It's not going to be good. We're not going to win this game. But I just really think that the defense needs to really step up. The offensive line that we do have, just try as best as you can, because I mean that clip that Micah Parsons put out on Twitter, I mean, it was just ridiculous. Like, it was an immediate, just everybody just went to the sides, and Daniel Jones was just like, could have died with that hole in that line. It was ridiculous. So I think that that's one of my biggest things, and I had put on a script as well. The Dolphins are less than 50% on third downs in terms of conversions. So if we can use that defense to stop the third downs, to not let them convert, I think that that's going to be a big factor in this game. I think that it's going to be very helpful for us. Like I said, I can't see the offense jumping on those opportunities and putting points up on the board on those conversions, but at least we can keep the score a little bit lower. But I would say those two are two of the biggest things for me.
Doug?
I agree. I mean, when you look at the numbers from the Seattle game, I mean, the Giants had 36 minutes of total possession, whereas if you look at the previous week, the 49ers had 40 minutes. So you would think the Giants had a lot of they had the better first down. You know, they held Seattle to, I think, 3 of 12 or 3 of 13 on third down, whereas they allowed the Niners to be like 9 for 16. You know, you look at some of the numbers and you felt like, without looking at the score, it's like, did the Giants win this game? Like, the Giants outgained a lot of the numbers that are essential to winning a game. But the two biggest things, obviously, were turnovers and obviously the final score. But you know, that's so, yeah. And I think part of the clock is you're likely, I don't want to say guaranteed, but you're likely going to get Saquon Barkley back. He looks like his ankle is progressing. And so the Giants have run the ball well when they've been able to. When they get away from running the football and try to, you know, do this whole passing offense, and that's when they've gotten in trouble. Now, I'm not saying don't pass the football, but part of what makes the Giants offense work is setting up with Saquon Barkley. Matt Breida has done the best he can, but he's not Saquon. Saquon establishes the run. He establishes the flow of the game. What makes the passing game work is off of play action. When the running game is working and when Daniel Jones can use play action well, that's when the Giants' passing game works. And as we saw in Arizona, play action down the field to Jalen Hyatt, that worked. At times, they were getting the ball to Darren Waller, because they were able to establish a run, get play action going, and then they were able to start making things work. They weren't able to do it in Dallas, maybe just because of the rain. They fell too far behind. But on that first drive of that game, we saw Saquon Barkley stuffing the ball down the Dallas Cowboys defense's throat. And then the block field goal just changed everything. In San Francisco, there was no Saquon. And Breida was held to 17 yards. Granted, he got the touchdown, but that was really it. Saquon Barkley is so essential to this offense, as is Andrew Thomas, but he might not be playing. Even so, Saquon still had 93 yards total and 2 touchdowns in that comeback against the Cardinals. Getting Saquon, even if he's like 80, 85%, that's better than a lot of other running backs in this league. Get him healthy. He's looking like he's healthy. Get him back on the field. So at least you can start to have the running game respected enough to where maybe you can start setting up play action, getting, you know, the ball down the field to guys like Wan'Dale and Hyatt and Darren Waller. Because without Saquon, this offense just does not look the same. And with Saquon out there, he makes Daniel Jones a better football player. So I say control the clock, get Saquon involved as much as you can without, you know, obviously getting him hurt, and get Jalen Hyatt involved, even if you have to run some short routes, if you have to run drag routes, get Jalen Hyatt involved somehow. Like, it's just frustrating not to see this guy, you know, even if you throw him deep, throw the ball to him. It's such a frustrating thing just to watch this guy who's got speed for days, and he can obviously make some tough contested catches like he did in Arizona, and he's just not being used. Like, I think a little less of Paris Campbell and more of Jalen Hyatt. I feel like Jalen Hyatt can make things happen with his speed and his talent. And obviously, I feel like get the ball more to Darren Waller. But with the offensive line the way it is, and I'm going right back to Saquon, if Saquon's healthy, run the football behind him, because they had success the first week in Dallas and the second week in Arizona. You know, Saquon was able to establish a run, and they're able to, that will create some things. So, and obviously the Miami team, they're 3-1. They're very, you consider, dangerous right now and a possible early championship contender. But at the same time, Buffalo showed you can score points on them. You scored 40, almost put up 50 on them. So you can score on them. And I know the Giants have talent there. It's just a matter of being able to execute the plays and execute that talent. So Saquon, I feel like being healthy could be the key to this game, and I think that good things could happen if they get him involved early, but they have to figure out proper execution. Otherwise, you're looking at another ugly performance.
Right. And as important as Saquon is too, he needs to stay healthy and on the field, which is probably why the Giants had a number and didn't budge much from that number when trying to pay him. So Saquon, obviously, best offensive weapon, needs to prove it. Super quick here. Keys to the game, building off what you said, Doug, explosive plays. The Dolphins defense gave up 48 points last week, but also 34 points in week 1. The Dolphins have given up a 104.9 rating to opposing quarterbacks. The question, though, is can any of the receivers break from Xavier Howard and Kader Kohu and Deshaun Elliott in enough time for Daniel Jones to deliver them the ball is my question. Pressuring Tua is key for me, too. You want to force Tua potentially into some mistakes. If Teron Armstead doesn't play, obviously he's hurt, out of practice today, it'll be Kendall Land at left tackle for Miami. And then Connor Williams and Robert Hunt are not these unstoppable players. In the middle, they're not 100%, so I expect Dexter Lawrence to have the upper edge there. Most importantly, stopping the run. Last week, it wasn't just Kenneth Walker. It was Zach Charbonnet. 5 rushes for 31 yards. The man is averaging over 6 yards a clip. And you look what Miami has. Raheem Mostert, 6 rushing touchdowns, and trying to pronounce his name correctly. I think it's Devin Achane. 4 touchdowns on the year, averaging 11 yards. Achane, got it. Thank you. Yeah, it looks like he's the new bell cow in South Beach. So very excited for him. 6 total touchdowns on the year, 4 on the ground, 2 through the air, averaging 103 yards per game in just 3 games played. Hello, Devin. Welcome to the NFL. Good luck, Big Blue, stopping him on Sunday. That's a big problem. Please keep Dexter and Leo on the field as much as you can, Wink. Quickly here, any player, Sam, that catches your eye on Miami that could potentially really make an impact in this game? Any player on the Giants? What are you thinking here?
Definitely. I mentioned him earlier, and we're talking about him again. Devin Achane. He was somebody that I was going to keep my eye on. But I'll throw Andrew Van Ginkel into that just because of the the offensive line and how he's going to be all over Daniel Jones and all that good stuff. So I'll throw him in there. And then on the Giants side, I'll say Darren Waller just because I want to see him targeted more and I want to see him in the red zone at least one time this season would be nice. So those will be my 2 guys. 3 guys.
Doug, do you have a 2 as well?
So for the Giants, definitely I want to see – I'm tossed up between Waller and Hyatt just because, obviously Saquon's coming back, but, you can't guarantee what we'll see from him just because he's been out for the last couple of games. I want to see the week 2 version of Jalen Hyatt. I want to see him going deep because I don't think Paris Campbell is it. And Isaiah Hodgins has kind of been MIA a little bit, and I want to see. I feel like Jalen Hyatt is supposed to be one of the superstars on this offense, especially in the wide receiver room. I want to see big things from him, and at the same time, Darren Waller basically is a wide receiver playing tight end. He creates mismatches. If Daniel Jones had saw him in the back of the end zone, he could have had that touchdown, and then we had a different ball game against Seattle. So I want to see one of those 2. And at the same time, on the flip, the player to obviously watch, you guys have mentioned him, Achane, I guess Devin Achane, I think is, yeah. Stopping the run, Leonard Williams is kind of, he hasn't been quite the impact that, and, you saw him fighting, you saw him fighting with guys because he was getting beat by backup linemen against Seattle. I want to see the big cat erupt. I want to see the big cat making, granted, Leonard Williams isn't the guy that you expect to get 10, 12 sacks, but he can get after the quarterback, but most importantly, Leonard Williams is good at supposed to be stopping the run. This would be a game where getting back to stopping the run would help for Leonard Williams and to justify the salary cap number that he has, which is at 32 million. And a lot of people are saying, trade him, but Leonard Williams for the most part is essential to stopping the run. And I want to see Leonard Williams kind of get, mad, get angry that he got embarrassed and start making plays, tackles for losses, the things that got him that contract from the Giants and why he's paid the way he is. I want to see some of that from him. That's because Devin Shane, he's made things happen. He was kind of the guy that nobody expected out of Miami, and all of a sudden, he was one of the must-have players in fantasy going into, I don't know if it was week 2 or week 3, but all of a sudden he was the name that everybody kept mentioning, and the Giants had a little issue stopping Kenneth Walker. So getting after Devin Achane early, because if the Giants don't, again, they could be in. I feel like the Dolphins can put up 35 points without blinking, and Devin Achane is part of that. So yeah, that's a guy you probably want to stop early and often, but then you also force Miami to pass the ball, and they like to do that too. But at least try to stop the run and then go from there.
Right, and then of course too, the year before, they played because of the new 17-game alignment throughout the course of the season. You play the one out of conference opponent from a specific division that has the same placement as you did the previous season. So it was the Dolphins in 2021. They held Hill in that game to a respectable amount of yardage. And Tyreek Hill, 4 touchdown catches on the season. He's a big player for Miami. 128 yards after the catch with 7 big play receptions. Tua Tagovailoa leads the NFL in passing through 4 weeks. Brian Dable was the OC at Bama when he benched Jalen Hurts for Tua. Fun fact for those of you watching that may not know that. Devin Achane, as we mentioned, Jalen Waddle, David Long Jr. as well, a prize free agent signing who has played pretty respectably thus far. And then quickly for the Giants, the entire offensive line, all 5 guys, sometimes they put 7 in there, whether it's Matt Pert, Mark Lewinsky, whoever it might be. We'll see. And then finally for the Giants, Daniel Jones, please prove us wrong, man. Just please. The Giants will be in this game if Jones has a good game. They will be in this football game. Daniel Jones, please prove us wrong. Finally, final segment of the evening, game predictions. Doug, as the guest, we'll start with you here on this one. I'm nervous to ask both of you this question. Who wins, and what is your final score?
All right. Right now, my gut. I'm gonna say Dolphins 41, Giants 22. Right now I don't feel good about the Giants going into this game. I would have felt better if they had won against Seattle. Momentum on their side, but they don't have momentum on their side. And I think it'll be good to get Saquon back if he is coming back, but the offensive line is what it is. And Miami right now looks like a championship contender that can score a ton of points at will, and the Giants are back on the road, not looking like a good football team that we saw last year. So until the Giants can prove to me, to everybody, that they can hang with the big boys and just hang in general, I don't feel confident in picking the Giants to win right now unless they show me they can. So right now, Dolphins 41, Giants 22. I think it's going to be a very long game for the Giants. Maybe they'll score late. Who knows? But right now, until they could show to me that they are capable of winning a football game, I can't pick the Giants. So yeah, I think Miami wins fairly easy on Sunday.
Sam?
Yeah, your score was a little bit nicer than mine, but very similar actually. I have Miami winning 42-17, and that's being kind for the Giants. I wouldn't be surprised if it's more of a 7 or a 10 score on our end. But yeah, I agree. I think the same as Doug here. I'm expecting the worst, honestly, and the Dolphins can definitely score on us in many different capacities. So, unfortunately, I will not be picking the Giants this week, or probably any week until they can prove it.
Sam, it sounds like you're stuck. Almost pulled off a Cowboys there.
I know, I almost said
still
it.
stuck in week 1. No one's recovered. Yeah. Simple here, 34-17, Miami. I think Jones plays better. I think the defense, it is what it is, right? At this point, they can't stop a nosebleed on the running game. They haven't proven they can tackle. The special team stinks. I mean, they might even give up a touchdown. Who knows? We didn't even mention his name, but Braxton Berrios might carve us up over the middle. Durham Smythe as well. We can't cover tight ends. So I think the Dolphins win this one comfortably, 34-17. And, then it'll be on to Buffalo. But, despite the struggles right now, there are brighter days ahead. It may not seem like it right now, but always keep the faith, folks. You never know what could happen. Any given Sunday is the theme. Doug, I want to thank you very much for joining us tonight. You're an awesome insight and knowledge. Any final thoughts or plugs here before we let you go?
No, I'm just glad to be able to join you guys. I know it's hard right now for a lot of Giant fans to stay positive, and but like you said, on any given Sunday, any team can go out there and beat somebody. So as long as there's a heartbeat, and like I said, that's what I want to see. I want to see the Giants just fight, and if at least they fight, you have a chance. They always say there's a puncher's chance. The Giants. It's not like the Giants are this bottom of the barrel, no talent team. Like, have talent. It's young, but they just need to put it together, and that's what I want to see on Sunday. I just want to see some fight. I want to see that they actually care and they want to go out there and kind of try to salvage the season. So that's really what I want to see. So that's what the fan base wants to see. Just some fight. Just that blue collar Giant football, old school mentality. Who knows? Maybe I've seen games where the Giants have looked dead in the dirt, and all of a sudden have resurrected themselves to come back and find a way. So maybe that'll happen on Sunday. Maybe not. Like I said, I want to see it. I want to see the Giants prove to me they can win a football game. But the fan. I know the fan base is. There have been worse Giants football teams in the past. I don't think this is one of them. I think it's just a lot of unfortunate things have happened, but season's not over quite yet. There could be, miracles have happened, and that's what you kind of have to hope for. That's why you continue to watch every single Sunday.
Awesome, Doug. Appreciate you very much. Hope you enjoy the rest of your night and your week. Hopefully we can celebrate a win on Sunday, even though that is highly unlikely. Trying to stay positive and play better than we did last week. That's all we can do. Thank you so much, and we'll have to catch you again soon. This was a lot of fun, Doug. Appreciate you.
Oh, I had so much fun, guys. Yeah, let me know. I had a blast talking to you guys. I'd love to come back on again and talk some football. Hopefully some better football than what we've seen the last couple of weeks. But no, this was a lot of fun. I really appreciate coming on and talking to you guys about Giants football, and hopefully we'll do this again in the future.
Absolutely, Doug. Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a great night. Talk to you soon.